Desert, a word that conjures up images of endless stretches of sand, where the sun beats down relentlessly, evaporating every last drop of water. But beneath the harsh, arid exterior of the desert lie extraordinary stories of life, creatures and human communities that have chosen to face seemingly insurmountable challenges. They have survived, thrived, and even become masters of the art of survival in a place where nature is unforgiving. Since the beginning of recorded history, deserts have been a symbol of harshness and challenge. But for creatures that have evolved over millions of years, deserts are not just places to exist, but also stages for spectacular survival strategies. Let's start with the animals that have made the legend of the desert, the true warriors of this arid land. The first animal we need to mention is the camel, nicknamed the truck of the desert. Camels are not only a great means of transportation, but also a symbol of perfect adaptation to harsh environments. The large humps on the backs of camels do not store water as many people think, but they store fat, a valuable source of energy that camels can use when food and water become scarce. Thanks to their unique biological structure, camels can survive without drinking water for days, even weeks. They also have the ability to regulate their body temperature to minimize water loss through sweat, and their thick fur helps them insulate themselves from the heat of the day and keep them warm at night. In addition, the eyes of camels are protected by thick eyelashes and 2 rows of eyelashes to protect them from the desert sand wind. The nostrils of camels can close to prevent sand from entering, and their large, well-padded feet help them move easily on the sand without sinking. Along with camels, reptiles are also masters of adapting to desert life. Snakes and lizards, with their ability to move quickly and hide under the sand, have become fearsome predators. A prime example is the rattlesnake, a snake that can sense the temperature of its prey from a distance, allowing it to strike with incredible speed and precision. Desert lizards, such as the Texas horned lizard, have the ability to change color to match their surroundings, helping them avoid being hunted by predators. Their bodies are extremely water-retaining, and they only drink when absolutely necessary. When water is scarce, they can survive on moisture from food or from morning fog. Some lizards have even evolved to secrete salty tears to minimize water loss. It's not just animals. Plants in the desert have also developed amazing survival mechanisms. One of the most iconic desert plants is the cactus. The succulent stems of the cactus allow it to store water for long periods of time, helping it survive long, dry seasons. The sharp spines on the stems not only serve as a defense against herbivores, but also help the plant minimize water loss by providing shade and reducing the heat of the sun. Additionally, the roots of the cactus can spread far and wide and reach deep into the ground to find underground water sources, a vital skill in places where water is scarce. Other plants, such as the date palm, with roots that reach tens of meters deep, are also biological wonders in their desert adaptations. They are able to reach underground aquifers that provide the water they need to sustain life. But desert life is not all about animals and plants. Humans, with their incredible intelligence and adaptability, have survived and thrived in desert regions around the world for thousands of years. Indigenous communities have developed unique ways of living to survive in these harsh conditions. The Tuareg people of the Sahara, known as the Blue People for their distinctive blue clothing, have survived and thrived over the centuries thanks to their deep understanding of the desert. Tuareg warriors are masters of the art of moving across vast stretches of sand, using camels and horses to transport goods and trade across desert routes. The blue clothing is not only to protect them from the harsh sun, but also to show respect for their cultural traditions. The Tuareg people have also developed a complex social and cultural system with strict codes of ethics, hospitality, and authority, all of which revolve around survival in the desert. Alongside the Tuareg, the Bedouins, the nomads of the Arabian Peninsula, are another example of human adaptation to desert life. Their livelihoods are based on herding livestock and searching for water, which they have done for centuries. Bedouins often camp in areas where water is scarce, moving seasonally to ensure that their livestock have enough grass and water. They have developed an extensive knowledge of underground water sources and their markings on the ground, which helps them survive in an environment where every drop of water is precious. For the Bedouins, nomadism is not just a means of survival, but a way of life, an integral part of their cultural identity. Unlike nomadic communities, some permanent villages have sprung up in the desert, where people have developed irrigation systems and cultivated crops to sustain their lives. A prime example is the communities that live around oases in the Sahara and the Arabian Peninsula. In these places, people have learned to take advantage of groundwater by digging deep wells, building canals to bring water from distant sources, and growing drought-resistant crops such as date palms. These villages are a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of humans, as they have transformed arid lands into habitable areas. However, life in these villages is not easy. Water scarcity, high temperatures, and geographic isolation are major challenges that they face on a daily basis. Despite their unique survival strategies, desert creatures and communities still face many challenges. Water scarcity is the biggest challenge facing all creatures and people living in the desert. The precious, scarce water in the desert is the only source of life, and finding and protecting it is an essential part of daily life. However, climate change and water scarcity have added to the harshness, making life in the desert more difficult than ever. Deserts around the world are expanding, turning previously habitable land into uninhabitable areas. Desertification, the conversion of arable or green land into desert, is occurring rapidly in many places, especially in Africa and Asia, with serious impacts on both creatures and people. Climate change is having a serious impact on deserts around the world. Rising temperatures and decreasing rainfall have increased the harshness of deserts. Creatures and human communities have faced unprecedented challenges. In some cases, animal and plant species have not been able to adapt fast enough, leading to alarming declines in numbers. Many communities have been forced to migrate to new lands, leaving behind their traditional homelands and ways of life. For those that have managed to stay, they have had to adapt to an increasingly harsh environment. Long-standing traditions, knowledge of how to find water and food in the desert, are now more important than ever. However, cultural erosion and rapid social change have also pushed these communities into internal conflict and contradictions. But why do deserts exist? How did they form? Deserts are not just the result of drought, but also the product of complex geological and climatic processes that span millions of years. Deserts form when a combination of factors occurs, including lack of rainfall, high temperatures, and strong winds. Some deserts, such as the Sahara, were formed by major geological changes, including the movement of continental plates and changes in the flow of ancient rivers. These changes created arid conditions, making this land the largest desert in the world. In addition to geological factors, desert formation is also related to changes in the flow of ocean currents and the movement of climate systems. For example, the Atacama Desert in South America is one of the driest places on Earth due to the influence of the cold Humboldt Current from the Pacific Ocean and the Andes Mountains blocking rainfall. These factors have created a land where annual rainfall can be as little as a millimeter, making life here a challenge. Deserts are also places of constant change. Although they may seem like static and unchanging places, deserts are actually places of constant change. Strong winds blow over the dunes, changing their shape, creating ever-changing landscapes. Deserts are also home to extreme weather events, from powerful sandstorms to rare but devastating rainstorms. When these rains occur, they can turn the dry sand into temporary wetlands, creating short-lived but stunning flower fields before the desert returns to its dry state. Desert creatures and people have learned to take advantage of these changes. They rely on a deep understanding of their environment, the signs of changing weather patterns, and how to exploit scarce resources most efficiently. It is this understanding that has enabled them to survive and thrive in places where life seems impossible. The desert, for all its harshness and aridity, is not a place without life. On the contrary, it is a place where life exists most strongly and resiliently. creatures and people have learned to adapt, turn challenges into opportunities, and survive in conditions that few could imagine. The lessons of resilience, creativity, and adaptability from the desert apply not only to the natural environment, but also to our daily lives. In the context of climate change and the proliferation of environmental problems, these lessons are more important than ever. The desert, with all its mysteries and challenges, is a reminder of the fragility of life and the need to protect and maintain balance with nature. As we face global challenges such as climate change, environmental destruction, and resource depletion, we need to learn from the desert, not just about how to survive, but also about how we can live in harmony with the environment, protecting and respecting what nature has to offer. In conclusion, the desert is not just a dry, harsh land, but also a place that holds extraordinary stories of life and adaptability. From tiny creatures to human communities that have lived for thousands of years, the desert is a living testament to the power and resilience of life. To protect and sustain life in these lands, we need to better understand them, respect and protect what they have to offer. In the future, if we can balance development and conservation, deserts will not only be dead lands, but also a source of inspiration for human creativity and progress.